Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's Danny Limelight. And I need all of you to subscribe to According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and all other platforms.
What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of talking to a modern-day Renaissance woman, a person of many talent, but she brings those talents to Pro Wrestling Eve, where she's a commentator. She is the one and only Leah Owens. Leah, what's going on?
Hi, guys. How is everybody? Yes, lead commentator in Pro Wrestling Eve, because we don't believe in saying about females, because it is an all-female show. But yes, lead commentator. Used to wrestle for Pro Eve, used to wrestle all over the world. So yeah, I'm just expanding my horizons, you see.
In a year that so many people have tried to expand their horizons, myself included, it's cool, because again, you don't have to rely on one particular thing to kind of, I guess, feed the artistic side of you and also the financial side, where people are trying to figure it out. You've done it.
Yes, I have, especially whenever before COVID and everything, I've actually been out of in-ring competition for 3 years now. It's going to be, because I got injured in the first Wrestle Queendom and just decided to dislocate my knee. But in the process of doing so, tore my ACL, and it took a year for me to get my surgery to get it fixed, which was only 2 months before my wedding. So there was a lot of stuff going on, and then I was supposed to be making my big comeback, the throwback to the 80s was coming back, and was supposed to come back last year, and then COVID hit. So leading up to all that, though, Eve was so good. Dan and Emily and all were awesome, and because I'd done a few guest spots here and there while I was wrestling as a commentator, they went, well, we'll make you lead commentator until you get back into in-ring action. And it looks like I'll just be lead commentator forever, because by the time wrestling comes back, it looks like it's going to be about 5 years since my injury. And gonna be honest, I don't think I've got it in me anymore to in-ring. So I've found a new niche that I've actually, I've actually flourished in better, doing something that I never thought I'd do. And you know what? It's come across really well. So thanks, the Eve fans and the Eve Army. So I love you.
Yeah, shout out to the Eve Army, and one of the Army members, Joseph Rice, saying, "Woo! First DC, now Leah, both Owens twins in less than a week on here." Yes, absolutely. Because they're just so kind to kind of share space and share time. So it's just incredible, both Owens twins, and that's a fun one, because you are essentially the Samoa Joe of Pro Wrestling.
I'm the Samoa Joe. I've never heard that before. Where did that come from?
Well, I mean, he's injured. He's commentating, so.
Oh, well, you know what? I'm gonna okay, get that right. I get you. I like it. I'm just glad you didn't say Corey Graves. So that's okay. He done his job well. I couldn't be good as a good heel commentator. You know what I mean? So, no, I'm not slamming him. I'm just saying I couldn't live up to his standards as a heel commentator. So, yeah.
Graves is the best heel and I told him this. I happened to be in the elevator with him at the downtown LA Marriott during Survivor Series 2018, and we were both drunk as all shit. And yeah, right. And,
that'd be me. I'm always drinking.
Yeah, and I was just like, dude, you're fucking awesome. And he was like, huh? I was like, you're Corey Graves, right? Like Sterling James Keenan. I used to read about you in Pro Wrestling Illustrated, fucking way back in the early 2000s. And he was like, oh shit. And he was like, and I was like, dude, you are doing Bobby Heenan proud. And he fucking gives me this warm fucking drunk hug, and we fucking take a selfie, and he sauntered off into his room and shit like that. So,
and you're like, did that just happen?
Yeah, that just happened. I mean, it's funny because it's really weird, because and it's not about me, but to say oh, I've got friends that work in Impact and NWA and UFC and Bellator and AEW and shit like that. God, the intro with Danny Limelight. He was he was on the podcast, and he was like, oh, Zeta Zhang does your intro? Let me do it. And like 30 seconds, he filmed that video and he was like, use it. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm using that
Well,
every
I'll do the
time.
next one though. I'll do the next
Oh,
one.
hell yes.
Tune it up,
It's like,
bro. Tune it up.
yeah, I like
You
it.
don't
I
get me.
like
Stop talking. You need a promo now. I'm doing it. I'm completely not like Casey. Whereas I'm just like, give me a promo, I'll do it.
it. Is that shade on Casey though? Is that
Hey,
shade
I'm
on
not throwing
Casey?
shade at all. Well, she did. She was the one that turned the back in the Owens twins here. So you know what? Meh.
I'm just saying. Yeah. I mean, gosh, because we have Thanksgiving here in the States. So, what would be the equivalent there where you are in your region of the world, where a family get together happens? It's Christmas, right?
Well, it would only be like Christmas and things like that, or like your birthdays. But like a whole proper family gathering would be like Christmas. We just
Yeah.
don't have
So
Thanksgiving. But it's
because
very difficult because of COVID and crap. Like we can't really obviously go see our family because our families are all over in Ireland. But obviously I have my new family, the Lynches, that are here, so it's cool. So I've got them. So yeah. I was going to, like, a lot of people said to me whenever I got married, they were like, oh, are you going to change your name to like Leah Lynch? And then I was like, I can't really like steal Becky Lynch's gimmick here. I can't steal having the Lynch mob. Unless she wants to like bring me up and we'll do a tag team. I don't know. Becky, hey.
just
But you
saying,
know what I
you're
mean?
just
And
putting
everyone's
it
like,
out
oh, no,
there.
we have to do it. You're here and she's in WWE. And I'm like, yeah, and who knows Lynch more? The WWE universe. They're just going to think I'm stealing it.
Yeah, no, I mean that could work. And it's funny because you said like Becky Lynch. It's not like you went like George Lynch from the Lynch Mob and the fucking metal
Exactly.
band and shit like that. And I was like, and why did I blank on whatever? God, what was George Lynch a part of? Was he the Scorpion? No, not the Scorpions. Something. He
No.
was a part of something. And
I
then
can't
he,
remember now. Because I'm using my phone, I can't check.
oh fucking man,
Dang
no,
it.
but I mean, it's kind of weird that like it's synonymous with Becky Lynch and not any
But
Lynch
that's just it's the
before.
new age, you know what I mean? That's it. That's all. It's more recognizable to any of the guys watching the podcast right now. I don't know how many people are watching, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, tons. Like I want to say like the millions and millions of
The
fans watching
millions and
around the world.
millions.
Yeah, I didn't want to fucking take his gimmick. I mean, he's doing shit on the Young Rock and everything. So apparently running for
I'm going to
president.
be starting watching that soon. It looks really good.
Oh, it's tremendous. The first episode in, I'm great. I love it. And yes, George Lynch was a part of Dawkins. So there you go.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah. Which the MMA superfan, I love this because it's an MMA question, but it's a question, right? So what is Connor's next move, as told to you by one Leah Owens? If you were booking the trajectory of Conor McGregor, what would that entail?
See, to be honest, like, love Connor, think he's amazing. He just needs to stop. Right? He's done it, and he's making a fool out of himself more. Like, going in and, like, trying to live back to what he was doing. Like, this is no slam against Connor. He is absolutely amazing. Like, he was, like, created, like, the whole UFC promo dynamic completely blew up because of him. Even though, like, they were technically promos. They were just, like, proper throwing shade.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, he created more eyes on it because of that and made it more entertaining. But I think with all this, I'm going to come back and I'm still going to be the same. You're not, bro. I mean, you've done it. Keep your legacy intact. And if you are going to come back in to help with Dana White and everyone in the UFC. Come back and do the training. Even just come back and be a flipping commentator. I don't know. Just leave your legacy where it is. Genuinely.
I agree. No, 100%. Because again, for that guy, we were kind of talking a little bit of the Tito Chuck Liddell 3 kind of debacle that happened when we were off air, and it's just like, again, for somebody that doesn't need to, you don't see like Elon Musk like, oh, I'm gonna fucking be a fighter or something, or Bill Gates like trying to whatever the fuck, it's just like, yeah, like they just do what they do and whatever. And for him to here in the US, Proper 12 is neck and neck, if not outselling Jameson, which has been around as a proper Irish whiskey for damn near longer than this country.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you
Because
don't
of the
need it.
association, and obviously it's
You
because the
don't need
thing
it.
that made it. You know what I mean? He's that big of a character that anything that he puts his name to well will sell well. So like, and he sells himself well. But at the minute, with everything that he's been doing and the fights that he's been losing, not saying that he's like lost it or anything. I think he shouldn't just risk it anymore. You know what I mean? I think you're done.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
bypass.
No, and I just because I know this thing called like CTE, traumatic brain injury, TBI, whatever you want to call it, like that does exist, all right? And it can go so bad, whatever. So like when people are like, "Oh, is somebody going to come back?" Whether it be MMA, whether it be pro wrestling, it's a physically taxing endeavor to do. So right. So I don't want anybody to come back. I mean, as a kid, I'd be like, "Oh, Undertaker ascending. When the fuck is he coming back?" Which is weird to think because you see a dude literally levitate after being put in a coffin by a Samoan sumo wrestler that was pretending to be Japanese and whatever, and they lock him in the.
Was that not Albert? No.
No, that was Yoko. Yoko was the.
Because I remember he came back as Tenzan. But
no, but I mean that.
Dude, I already know what I know. I'm not gonna act as one of these wrestlers who's like so massively fucking obsessed with it. Like I know what I know, and that's it.
I'm just saying. Well, I mean, I had to be probably elementary school age, and I already knew that the Undertaker was going to come back, which is weird, and a weird kind of talk about like a suspension of disbelief. Like a dude literally gets, but think of what you know about death, and especially as like an 8-year-old or whatever, right? And you're like, okay, like my cat died, we put it in the ground. Kitty is not going to come back. Especially in an arena full of people.
Like, come on, like,
that would be fucked up, though. I mean,
he'd be like, Pet Cemetery. Thanks very much, Stephen King. I'm out of here.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm totally good. Like, but yeah. So the thought of anybody kind of returning, I'm kind of like leery on like Edge. I'm all like, ugh, like his first match back, which was like heavily edited and taped and everything back at WrestleMania and like, and he even got hurt doing that. And I'm like, ooh, what is this going to look like for him? Because he still has his wife, he still has his kids. He is a person that can still kind of form a sentence, clearly, which a lot of his contemporaries cannot for a multitude of reasons. So I'm all like, quit while you're ahead, dude. You got mortality on your side, man.
It's like, okay, finally you reached your 30-year limit, like that's it. Just take your time and retire and actually enjoy it and be with the kids and stop trying to kill yourself for us because we do appreciate it, we do love it. You've been wrestling as long as I've been alive on this earth, so you know what I mean. Just stop. Love you, but stop.
Love you, but stop. No, 100%. Which I mean, you can't get to loving you and stopping without loving the beginning. So. I mean, obviously, as your rights, put it pretty awesomely, that you are a part of a twin tandem, right? Along with Casey before your kind of unceremonious uncoupling. That's what I'm going to use. I mean, it was good it was good for Gwyneth Paltrow, so I'm going to use it here. But you guys were uncoupled. But how did Leah enter the pro wrestling industry?
Well, it was obviously through Casey, and it was just basically like I'd seen her doing like the whole backyard wrestling with BCW, Bangor Championship Wrestling. I'd went to a few shows because she was like, I need somebody there to cheer for me, and I was like, okay, I like wrestling, let's do it. At that point, though, I had actually stopped watching wrestling since I was like, I want to say 12 or 13, maybe 14. So I was like 19 at this time, and I was like, okay, well, I'll come and see it. And then she changed to train with Machine, Alan Cunningham, and then she was like, right, we'll change venue, like where the school is, and Machine is offering like a free day to anybody who's never trained before. Do you want to come and actually see and feel what it's like to actually take a bump in the ring and learn a wee bit of wrestling? And I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. Now, this coming from Kelly was really nice because it's always been her thing and it's always been her dream. So I was like, don't worry, I'll only come in for the one training session just to see what it's like, so then I can obviously sympathize to like why you're so sore all the time. Blah, blah. And then I took a bump and was like, ooh, this seems like a bit of a laugh. And then I was talking to everyone that was at the training was like, you know, this is like too good not to have, you know, like having you and Casey do a tag team and stuff. So like the very, very first show that I was a part of was down in NLW, down in Naas. Now it's spelled Naas. So whenever I read it on the poster, I read it as Naas. And then all the guys just went, are you kidding me? I went, no, it's pronounced Naas. I was like, right, okay. And then in order to pay my dues, I decided I'll be the driver. So I was driving down. Didn't have any gear, nothing, like no wrestling attire, nothing. Just was like, I'm coming down to watch the show and see how it goes. And then half an hour before doors, Jamie, one of the promoters, turns around and goes, right, what's your gimmick? And I'm like, her twin. That's all I said. And he goes, did you bring any gear with you? And Kelly, like, well, Casey's just like, well, I've got 2 sets of gear, and like she'll be able to fit in it fine, it's grand. And then I went, there. That's all it is. And then she goes, right, okay, so you'll walk out with your sister tonight. And I was like, cool. What is it? I'm like looking at Casey going, all right, let's do this. So we got changed. And to bear in mind though, my hair was like bob cut, like because I'd been growing it out whenever I used to have it all shaved and all spiked up. So I had a bob cut. She's got super long length hair, and I'm like, no one's gonna believe that we're twins, even though that we look like facially, because obviously, like being in the theater, like it's the way you can see. But it was a hit, and then every time since that, I was always just following Casey, and it was always Casey versus Rachel Sinclair or Kaza or Section Moth, and I just led on from there. But it was because of Casey saying, well, come on and try your first time, and then I was like, that's it, cool. Saying that, love wrestling now, I absolutely adore it. I just don't feel like I have the same obsessiveness, maybe I want to say, as Casey does. But because of her like love for it and everything else, it rubbed off on me and then led to me moving to Glasgow. Yay! And having an adventure.
But I mean, that's kind of fun because everybody, you know, in the wrestling industry forever and a day have talked about paying your dues and what have you, kind of learning the ropes and everything. And it was just like, it was a freebie. Like, it was a freebie, right?
Yeah. I was like, that's it. But you know, the thing was, for me, is like, I didn't know. And I was like, you know, it's an experience, it's something to have fun with. But like, because I'm a really bad passenger in a car. So if I know that I can drive somewhere, I will drive. You just don't have a choice. I am driving. And it came to the point that everyone was like, now this is before like our phones and stuff had like sat nav and stuff on them. So like everyone's like printing off like directions to come down from Belfast and stuff, or else the guys if they were in the car with us to direct us. But I used to got called Google Maps. That was my nickname with some of the guys who were in the car with me, because I used to be able to go on. And if we were doing like a 3-day weekend, 3-day tour, I would go on to Google Street View, type in the ways, and then look it up and then learn all the different junctions and things. And I would do that for about an hour, and then I would know everywhere to go. And there was like, well, I brought the direction case. I'm like, put them away. Google Maps is here. It's fine. And I'm like driving the way down all over Ireland, just going, yay!
That's a skill, though. I mean, it's almost a liken to, again, here's another, you're not going to see it, but I totally see it, but a Harley race kind of comparison, because he was a wheelman a lot of times in his kind of younger days, you know, not the gruff and gritty, Ric Flair, he was a wheelman for like Happy Humphrey, like a 500-pound portly gentleman, almost Big Daddy. Hey. Yeah, like Big Daddy without the charisma.
Oh.
Like that's.
I don't know what's happened. I don't know. Don't know what happened there. My life decided to tip, but I was like, no.
Hey, maybe your stand was almost like a cholo, and it decided to lean back. No.
So I was like, hey.
No, so I mean, that's a lot of people's kind of first incarnations of, whether they basically become a referee or whatever. They start off as the wheelman, and in the back they would be driving a lot of the elder statesmen, and learning the business that way. So
Yeah.
even though it was a very new school take on it, right? You printing out directions and everything, but that's a skill that is vitally needed for. I mean, I remember like down in Georgia, there was a time we lived there, and an Atlanta Braves baseball player.
Mhm.
Essentially got lost, and he had like this multi-million-dollar contract or what have you, and he got lost because I don't know how it is now, but at the time in like the late 90s, there was the freeway that wrapped around Atlanta, and it would just be a loop, like a
They
literal
just keep
circle.
going around.
Yeah, so if you didn't get off, you didn't want, you just kept on going. And he had a
Yeah.
car phone when it was still kind of cool to have a car
I
phone.
click click.
Yeah, and he was just like, I see the stadium, and I think he was like from the Dominican Republic or whatever, but like, he was like, I see the stadium, I see the lights, I don't know how to, if it's thick
I
like
can't
Dominican
make my
accent.
car go from there to there.
Yeah, yeah. So you being the wheel, woman, I mean, that was crucial for a lot of people, getting
It
to
was
the
crucial,
venue.
but it was brittle sometimes as well because you don't realize how long some of the drives are, and then you're sitting going, and you're like, you got your time limit. You have to make sure you're at the venue. Some of the times that we were on the tours, like especially with AWR, Casey and I always had the thing as well with paying our dues. We would be arriving, and then we would help build the ring, and then after the end of the show, we'd help take down the ring, and then we'd be going to the hotel, and then maybe have a few drinks, and then and then get up in the morning, and then drive again. So it's just something for me. Like I've always stuck to, and if I'm there and the ring's not built, I'll help. It's just like ingrained into me to do that. And it's one thing that I've noticed a lot of the schools, especially like GPWA and stuff in Glasgow, that's what they make sure that all their trainees know is like, pay your dues. You'll show that you're willing to do all this, because if you don't know how to build the ring, then how do you know that the ring's safe? How do you know that there's not something wrong with the ring when you get in it? All those wee things to check whenever you're going through a match or anything that way. So it's just I'm like, pardon the pun, I'm quite anal about all that kind of stuff. I'm like, you better make sure you do that. Okay? And
Of
I'm
all
quite
the
crass, so
puns,
I do apologize. Hi,
no,
everyone.
that's fucking great. That's uh, and Kelly Robinson says, "I'm a straight edge." Shout out to you, Kelly,
Yeah.
for
So Kelly,
yeah.
like you didn't realize Kelly's Casey, right?
Oh no!
That's Casey.
Oh no shit! Hi.
That's why Lee Lynch. That was talking was me. I'm Lee
Oh
Lynch.
fuck! I guess fuck K-Big.
Because like you
Fuck
did that, like
K-Big
obviously
Monday
during
apparently.
because whenever like Molly was on yesterday, Kelly's saying, "Oh yeah, so Kelly Robinson." I'm like, he doesn't know that that's Casey. He doesn't know
Oh
that that's Casey.
no! Oh, I guess fuck
I
kayfabe,
there.
right?
Yeah, see, this is the whole thing. Like you're kayfabing it, but you know what? I'll destroy the kayfabe. Wait, my real name isn't Leah Owens, guys.
Oh god! Oh my god! I think like I don't know, like the soul, even though he's not dead yet, but like the soul of like Bill Watts is like
Just
turning
go.
over. Oh fucking hey! Oh,
Here,
making people
everybody
sick.
knows everything now these days, so you know what? I'm not afraid about it. So
Yeah.
no, you
It's,
start marks out there. We're all marks. It's like,
hi.
hi. But no, the reason she's bringing up the whole straight edge thing is like we always make the joke that I drink enough for the two of us. That's why she doesn't drink. So I'm like, yeah, I'm a wee bit. I used to be like a wee bit of an alcoholic. See, to be honest, as soon as I turned 30, cannot drink the way I used to.
Yeah,
Not good.
age hits us. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I mean it's funny because speaking. So the first part of the quarantine back in like March, I had
Mhm.
my sister and I we were talking for years, like a couple
Yeah.
years that passed, and then we finally kind of reconvened. And I remember the first part of quarantine, like literally from March to like Mother's Day, which was like in May. She was here, and we were drinking every night, and my kidneys were saying, "Fuck off." Now my sister can hold her weight in liquor, literally. I just fuck, man, like mid-30s are a different fucking thing, man.
Because I was the exact same. Like me and my husband were the exact same. Like the first 2 weeks of like whenever the full lockdown went in, and we're like, something else to do. Let's drink. And like we were like hammering the drinks in so much that like we spent an extortionate amount of money on alcohol. It was absolutely ridiculous. And then like it was taking us like we're drinking, and then we'd wake up the next day hungover to hell. And then like we're like how we bit of food, like well let's just continue drinking. So then we'd just hair the dog it and then just come and like keep drinking. And then it was like literally after the first 2 weeks we were like, oh, this ain't good. We should not keep doing this. So then we did go on a wee bit of a detox. I think it was like not like fully off it, like once a week. So it was every Saturday, Saturday we'd have a few drinks, but wouldn't drink as much as we were. So we're like detoxing it, and we could just feel that drinking the amount of water that we'd replaced from alcohol was you could feel like the benefits of it. And we're like, yeah, maybe we just shouldn't drink like we were like 21 anymore.
I mean, that's it, you know. And Kelly says supporting each other, but I also think you guys, the husband and you, were supporting each other in this new kind of sobriety
Normal
of sorts.
I know. It's really weird. Like it's like, to be honest, I don't think I'll ever like stop drinking like completely. I just don't think I have like the strength to do that because sometimes when you just have that really stressful day and you're like, I just need a glass of wine right now. Just give me a glass of wine, or just give me a vodka, whatever it is I want to drink. Just grab it. I can think about being like full blown straight edge like Casey and being like, okay, so I'm really stressed, so I'm going to go get my can of Coke, or my can of Coca-Cola, or my can of Pepsi, or my can of Fanta. Look, no. I need something just a wee bit just to take that edge off, you know.
Yeah. No,
To be honest, when I started commentating in Eve, I actually had to drink 2 Budweisers before we went live because I was like this. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if people are going to understand me. Dan Reed's sitting next to me going, I'm going to have to cut you off. I'm like, oh. But because of that, and because of my nerves, that's why I got like so much more hyper with it. But then I got so hyper focused on what was going on in the ring that some of my best work is whenever I had like one beer in me. Nowadays, it's a monster. It's a can of energy juice. That keeps me awake. That's fine. But yeah, at the start of my commentating career, I was like, yeah, I need a beer. Thanks, Dan, for letting me get away with it.
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, this is probable. I mean, it should be common knowledge, but like, Joe Rogan takes like mushrooms. Like you fucking
exactly. He gets like mushrooms and stuff, and it's like,
yeah. So I mean, it's the new. It's the new normal. I mean, that's a phrase that gets uttered a lot nowadays. But I mean, it's the fucking new
your cable's gone again.
Oh shit! Wait, hold on.
Okay.
Can you hear me? No.
It's just going crackly.
No.
Try now. No.
No, fuck. Hold on. I'm gonna.
Hi everyone. Yeah. So, are you all enjoying it? I can't see any comments. So whenever we get a chance to, we'll get that sorted. Hope we're all good. Hey, there we go. Hey.
There we go. Eureka. We did it. Fuck yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, so, you know, it's just the new normal. Like whatever people, if it takes you a can of Coke, not cocaine.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, Coca-Cola. Which, by the way, here in the U.S., it was made out of cocaine, you know, in its initial form. So, and it was used as a.
That's why
I can't remember.
So
Yeah. So, but whatever way, if you can do it straight edge, if you can do it the shrooms, if you can do whatever, assuming that it's illegal. Yeah, assuming that it's legal in your neck of the woods, then go for it, man. Just, yeah.
As long as you don't make a fool out of yourself, then you're cool. You're cool. As long as you can still do your job, you're cool.
Absolutely. Which, by the way, so in terms of, you know, you were obviously supporting Casey, but at what point do you actually enter the ring and have your first match?
That was actually with Casey, and that was in BCW, and it was 6 months after I started training with Mega, Modern Extreme Grappling Arts, that's what it was called. But it was against Casey, And I came out and probably like, I look back at it and go, oh, that gear was so cute. Why did I ever know? And like, I was like, it was cute for them. I literally came out in assless chaps with the purple hot pants on and like we like bikini bra top thing that matched it. And it did its job, you know what I mean? It did its job. But no, that match, it was about 10 minutes. And it was hilarious at one point in it because the rest like coming in, I'm like, which is never heard of, I don't think. I was made heel for this match. So for somebody's first match, you would never put them heel because, as we all know, the heel runs the match. Mm-hmm. If you don't, sorry, kayfabe, but the heel runs the match. But they were like, you're just, the way that you're performing and training just screams out heel. So we kind of believe that you might be able to do this. And I was like, okay, let's do this. Had the match, but I had Kelly in the corner and I was choking her. And then I moved from choking her to then choking her with my foot. And then the ref was like, 1, 2. And I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. I'm like, I can do whatever, shouting and screaming. Like the whole way. And there's video somewhere in the YouTube history. Like, go and find it. If you can find it, it's hilarious. But there's a point, I think I double under power bomber. And I pin her. And then it was deleted into like my finish, but when I was lifting her up, she kept dropping. So I was like, instead of going like she's out, I go, come on, ref, she's dead. Ref, she's dead. You need to cut her out. And I'm like looking back and going, that's the worst thing you can say. It's like your opponent's dead in the ring. And it's like technically he should have just went ding 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 then, you know, with that. But because I done, come on, she's dead. Then I go to pick her up and then she switches it around into her finish. So she went over, but it was just, yeah, that was hilarious. But I remember, I think it was literally about 100, maybe 120 times that we had went through that match. Just in that day. Just so I could do it. And then we had another one that was in MSW, main stage, down in Dublin. And that one is actually one of my favorite matches. And if I can find it, I will link it below this after the whole podcast is done. But I'll link to it because it is actually one of my favorite matches with Casey because it was brutal. There was like, she went to do it to like something off the top rope, but I lifted my knees up and then she did like straight into her chest and stuff. And not like, I remember as soon as she hit, I heard this God Almighty, and I'm like, oh no, I've just killed my sister. I've just killed my sister. Oh no. Again, still acting heel, but like honestly, some of them like funnest matches have actually beaten Casey. Like especially in the early days, because I've never wrestled. I only wrestled Session Moth once.
Oh wow!
In the whole time, and then leading up to obviously Eve and stuff, and then her making her debut with Eve, I was like, oh my god, this is so much fun. And then I was creating the character of the throwback to the 80s, and I was like, oh my god, like me and Session Moth have to like create a tag team. And then she's just like, oh yeah, well what would we call it? And I was like, it would be the throwback to the sesh. And she just went, we need to be a tag team. That never happened, but you know, if I did come back to the ring, you know, Session Moth, calling you.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Come
on, she does every like wrestler's gimmick, man. Like I do. Oh yes, thank you with the flapjack. Yeah, yeah.
Which
she hit me with Casey hit me with a flapjack in that match that I really like in MSW, and it's literally the point that if you can pause it at the right point, I'm horizontal in line with the top rope. So she's thrown me up that high that I literally just came down and went, my face is going to smash so hard right now off this thing. So I came down and I hit, but because it's been, there was a double down, we've both rolled onto our backs, and in the video footage of it, it's Casey at the front and then me just behind her, but just like it's a way that you can see both of us. And we both get up in the same direction at the same time. And I'm like, you never see that with any other wrestler apart from the set of twins.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. I mean, I can't feel my face when I'm with you, right? That's kind of what comes to mind. I can't feel my face and I get flapjack for Casey. Yeah. And it's funny because...
That's why it became a big staple for me and Casey in our tag matches. If you watch a lot of our tag matches, a double flapjack is in it.
Damn. That's crazy. But it also might be the name of one of the Retribution members, too. So I think the WWE standards and practice are coming for you. Like Booker T
Yeah.
and Hulk
Well, you know
Hogan.
what? We just reformed it. Bring it, bro.
Bring it. Don't sing it, bring it. Now, Dan Reed.
Exactly. You want to back it up? Bring it to me.
Yes. Now, Dan Reed of Pro Wrestling Eve says, I don't like it saying former wrestler. I'm not subscribing to that. So maybe, just maybe, he's going to coax you back into the ring. Just saying.
Dan, like Casey was saying on the podcast with you before, I owe Dan a lot. Like, a lot. If it wasn't for like him, I wouldn't have got my experience being obviously on commentating. I wouldn't have the trust that he has in me to run that whole section, because a lot, like with being as a commentator, like you don't realize how hard of a job it is until you try it the first time, and then you're like, hang on, I'm not just coming to do a show to do one match. I literally have to sit here for 2.5 hours, call the matches, know what's going over and who's that's not there, and make sure like everything's like cohesive and stuff. You know what I mean? So you're having to like work constantly. And I remember the first day doing a full show myself, with Dan, but Dan did a lot of disappearing because there was a lot of injuries in that show, if I remember correctly. Dan, comment if I'm right. But he had to keep leaving to check on the girls, the other ladies, and I was like, okay. So I'm like having to do a lot of the commentating myself. And then at the end of that show, I like at any end of the Eve show, I would normally be like drinking away and like partying the night away with the fans and shit, and have a laugh. But I went straight home. I went straight to the hotel. I went straight to sleep. I'm so tired. I was like, I could not believe how much it was. Now, I know he's saying, like, I'm a former wrestler. It's just, dude, have you seen the level that some of these, like, all these ladies and women and girls are wrestling at? I'm like, I'm a gimmick wrestler. I'm the throwback to the 80s. I'll steal everybody's flipping moves. Leg drop. Didn't work for me well the last time, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think Hogan is actually shorter for doing the leg drop, so it's not something that I would advise. Just saying.
No.
I mean, like, it took literally like 3 inches.
All right, let me see if I can do this, right? I was trying to come up with a name, right? Because if I was coming back to the ring, I was like going to try and like steal Casey's like moves and stuff. And I was saying about I was wanting to do like something with the knees. And then I just said it would be really cool to use my like the knee that I had my surgery on, because the way the surgery went in, because it was all keyhole, it looks like I've got an emoji on my knee. So I call it my knee emoji. So I was like, we could call it like the knee emoji, like as a finisher. So let me see if I can get it up. So I don't know if you can see.
Yes.
No, I don't know if the lights are too strong, but you got 2 eyes here, and then you got your like wee line here. Can't really see it too much, but whenever you see it in person, it literally looks like my knees just going, thanks. It's like, thanks. You've done that move hundreds of times, and you screw it up.
I mean, I guess. And speaking of like screwed up moves, that powerbomb, Kelly is actually mentioning that you guys were both off the ground when this was being administered.
Yes, to be fair, yes, it was. Whenever I'm like at that point of being horizontal above the top rope, both her feet are out from underneath her. So she's like went down, lifted me up, and jumped. So that's why we got such a big height on it. But literally in the video, all you hear is me going, ah! And the worst thing about that ring was custom built with kegs, tires from cars, and then just 4 posts. So in the middle of the ring, where you normally have the spring, there was a keg with tires on it to give you your bounce. Talk about, man, it wasn't even a backyard like thing. It was an established company.
I mean,
Mainstays, love you.
Yeah,
not loving it at all.
I mean, but I hear about like, you know, the rings in Mexico. There's a reason why, you know, it's not just a flat back bump. It's just like a roll through, because like they're just fucking cement.
They're just solid.
Yeah. So it's not the worst, you know. And Dan says, I have no idea there was always reasons why I had to run off. So there's a mea culpa for.
Yeah, there was loads. Literally, there was just one that he was like there for like the first 2 minutes of each match, and then he was away again. And I'm like, so I'm calling the show myself. Cute.
There you go.
So many times, so in commentary, I had to pull myself back from going, by God.
That's okay. I mean, there's worse things to say. It could have been what a maneuver, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Dude, you know I've always believed in you. You main evented with Sammy for Eve, for the Eve title. I put you over Kaylee Ray clean.
Ray.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely. Your biggest enemy. And I always told you, I wish you believed in you like I believe in you. Oh, there's a little bit of Paul Heyman in
no. We've been a Paul
There's
Heyman.
Paul Heyman in that read. That's what I'm going to say.
No, all right. So going back to actually that whole point, rather than going in that whole tangent I just did with Dan, no, he's always had like the belief in me, and I've always said since day one, I'm only in this business to get Casey noticed. So like it was always my dream. Like so, I was like, if it gets to the point that Casey gets noticed and she gets like noticed by the WWE or whatever company that she wants to go to, I've done my job. So I'll just stay in the Indies. You know, I'm not looking to go that far. If they came up and knocked the door and went, yeah, we've got a contract for you, yeah, on the dotted line, done. But I was always Casey's dream. So I was like, I'm not standing in the way of that. I just know I can be something that help her get noticed because we are so unique. Because at the time when we were doing TNA Boot Camp and all, we were one of 3 sets of female twins in the whole of the world. So you're like, that's unique. So we wanted to make sure that they could see that we're working. But yeah, with Dan and everything like that, it's just, he's always said the same thing. He goes, you always put yourself behind your sister, but you've not actually ever realized how good you are actually doing matches. You don't realize actually how good you are at telling stories. You don't realize that you can do this and that other. Now, I do believe like whenever I was doing matches and things, it was just, I had certain ways I like to do it, and I don't like overcomplicating things. I like simple matches. I like matches that tell a story. I don't get me wrong, absolutely love the girls that can go hell for leather. You know, like 100 million like high spots and off the top ropes and all this crazy flippy. Nah, I'm good. If I can get over a match with just pure wrestling or pure storytelling or like spots here and spots there and whatever, and it still makes story and still entertains people, I've done my job. If I can go up to the top, to the corner and hit a flipping double axe handle like Macho Man Randy Savage, I will hit a double axe handle. You know what I mean? If I can run off the ropes and pretend to be, Hogan, I'll do it. That's what I want to do. And then there was Dan was always saying, and especially when I decided I was going to come up with the 80s gimmick, it was literally about a year before Glow was being made. And then whenever I was going to debut it, Glow had just came out massive. And I'm like, oh no, everyone's going to think I've just stolen it because of this. And I'm like, no. But then obviously it got quite big, and then as soon as I started coming out to Aha Take On Me, it just exploded. So, because our original idea for me and Eve was sorry, I keep burping. I just had my dinner.
That's right.
But with, are the cats coming in? Oh, yeah, one of my cats coming in. No, it's fine.
Running.
He's just went behind the things. Do you want to say hi, Mark?
Yeah. He's like,
you sure?
No.
But no, with the with that had taken me. I was saying to Dan, I want it to be quite unique and I want to be really different. I just don't want to be known as somebody with the same entrance music at every show. He goes, what do you mean? And I went, I want to come out to every show that I'm wrestling on with a completely different 80s theme shit. And he goes, oh, okay, that sounds like a cool idea, but I don't know if it will work. Let's try these songs first. Dan, I can't remember right now what song we actually were originally supposed to do, but put it in the comments and remind me. But then it came out to Aha Take On Me, and he goes, really? And I'm like, yeah, come on, everybody knows it, and everybody's going to be doing the da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah,
and he goes, right, okay, we'll do it. Let's see how it goes. And as soon as that came on, the place went nuts. And I went, okay. Rest of the match, finished the match, great match. I think it was me versus Jeddah. And it was just a whole lot of fun. And then after that, at the end of it, I went to Dan and I went, and then Dan goes, we're not changing your entrance music. And I went, cool, that's exactly what I was just about to tell you.
That's it. Yeah,
That's it.
in terms of the storytelling and matches, uh, I can prove this. Honky Tonk Man hasn't taken a bump since 1997, so it tells you, and he's still getting
Exactly.
books.
Because I remember seeing, like I was doing leading up to the Royal Rumble. Me and my husband, we were watching all the Rumbles right up from. We didn't watch '92 Royal Rumble. Now that's the best one, but we started at '97. So we went from '97 right up to 2020 to lead up to watching the Royal Rumble this year. And Honky Tonk Man came out every time, and like at the times he was in it, and it was like no bump, straight over, no bump, straight over, no bump, and I'm like, see, if I do that, I don't need to take a bump. If it makes sense to take a bump, I'll take a bump.
Yeah, and what's funny in terms of like the entrance music. I mean, before he was Isaiah Swerve Scott, well, God, I can't remember what he was. But he wrestles in NXT as Isaiah Swerve Scott. But I remember going to a show here in California, and he was coming out to Shaka Khan's "Ain't Nobody" and had huge in metal T-shirts. Yeah, like that, like Demure Brugger and whatever the hell and whatever, and they're singing Shaka Khan as he's walking out to the ring, and I was like, pro wrestling, yo, pro wrestling. I'm just saying.
But it is, but that's why I always said, and that's why Darren has always been really behind me, because I do believe in myself as a wrestler. I just don't believe I'm like at the level at like what they're bringing out now. You know what I mean? I know I can push myself to do it. You know what I mean? It's like doing it and then there's doing it. And I'm gonna be honest, and like I've been at the ring that long that I'm like, oh, Ross is gonna be like, I'm like, I'll be walking in like flipping. I just fought myself there. I'm gonna be walking in like Kevin Nash, going click, click, click.
Yeah. Now, Dad Reed says, "Trust me, you can come back and work around everything, and have corkers."
Corkers made the matches.
Okay, and from the commentating as well, you get a lot more than you did before, because you'd have the mentality better than you ever did before. So, there you go. That's from the man.
Because that's why I actually said to a lot of people, it's like, especially in Eve, whenever they came up and asked me, it was about 6 months into me doing the lead commentating, the girls finally were like, holy crap, like, like coming up to me going, right, what did you think about the match? Was there any critique? And then I'm like, whoa. Okay, I didn't actually expect this point to remember, because like at the start of doing it, like it was such an overwhelming overflow of information that I'm trying to remember, and then trying to do the intros and outros and stuff for like the YouTube channel or Fight Network, and I'm like, so I'm like, or if it's like been a tournament weekend like she won, I'm like having to try like write all my notes down and like everything like that, and just like focus on the show. But then when everyone started coming up to me and asking me for critique, and I'm like, why you ask me for critique? Like, oh, because you've been in the business so long and you used to wrestle now, like you're doing commentating, we'd appreciate some critique. And I'm like, okay. So then that put more on like how much of what we actually do. You know what I mean? And and that's why I now say to people, especially, or any trainee or anybody that contacts me, I say, like, if you're going to be doing it, make sure you try everything in the business. Whether it's being a wrestler, being a commentator, being a ref, being a backstage hand, being on camera, it's 100 of things you can try. But if you can do at least 3 of the big ones, ref, commentate, and wrestle, you'll know, because you'll then be able to understand different ways matches can be like done, and what different things can be done, rather than coming to a show and then watching going, okay, everyone's doing an outside bump, so I'll just do an inside bump, or no one's doing an outside bump, so I'll do an outside bump, like all that kind of stuff. So it's like, it gives you a completely different perspective. So yes, I agree with you down there. I think I could do it.
Yeah. Now, he says a notable, known for her foundations, but Kate Nash was actually in attendance at an Eve show. So there you go.
Yeah. She was. Kate Nash was. And whenever she was there, that was actually leading up to the match. It was me and Casey, and it was me, Casey versus Sami Zayn in a triple threat. And that was actually really ironic, because during that match, I gimmicked my left knee as an injury. And then it was like 2 months or 3 months later, or however long later after that I ended up having my right knee. So I was like, was that foreshadowing? But no, Kate Nash loved it. And I talked to her after the show and stuff. And then I was joking, saying, well, if you want to, a wrestler that's looking to do an 80s gimmick, contact me. I'll go on the Glow and have a laugh. And nothing came of it anyway. So, but I had a lot of fans like comment and then contact me going, "Are you going to be on Glow? Like, are you going to get a like an audition and stuff?" And I'm like, "I would love to." Sadly, it's obviously not in production anymore. But I think that would have been really cool.
So, you want to know a fun little deal? So, Glow is literally filmed 3 blocks away from me, or it was. Yeah. So I think season 1, episode 3, you'll see. You're an avid watcher of the show, right?
I've watched it.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, so you remember that episode where they're like, "We want to wrestle," and they were all.
The whole stand round and being like the
Okay.
What's it called? Yeah.
Yeah. So that gray building is where I am right now. That is my apartment that they filmed right in front of.
I want it.
Yeah. Well,
if I come over to LA, then I'm going to just stand in front of your apartment and just like we want to wrestle sign.
Hell yes, my wife's a great cook. We'll have you and the husband over. I mean, it's weird. It's weird now because everybody's in the houses and everything. But it's funny when that was filmed, right? As big a fan and involved in wrestling and combat sports and whatever, I was at work, so my wife saw this all going down and whatever, and then I went on like Meltzer, and I was like, "Oh, they filmed that," and I was like, "Son of a fuck!"
They're right there.
Damn it! It was like CKY. I was close yet far. I mean,
close yet far.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dan says she's fucking crazy, this one. Has she told you about the time she did the balcony dive at Eve? So she hasn't yet, but thank you, Dan. She's going to tell it now.
That was the match between, it was supposed to be a tag team match. But it got shortened down to a 3-way between, it was supposed to be me and Casey versus Shanna and Nina Samuels. And we were gimmicking it.
Yep.
And I can't remember. It was Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. So am I right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was like I was obviously the Rockers, and it was whenever Marty was it Marty? Yeah, he got injured, Marty. So he was out the right greatest. So it was like that match. He goes like take that kind of idea from because sadly Casey couldn't partake in that match properly because the week before she had actually really seriously injured her back at ICW. Because she decided to do a top rope dive to the outside, do a flip dive, and no one caught her, so she just bumped straight on wooden floor. So we then had to work that through. So I ended up like working through and doing that match. So then it ended up like basically nearly the same like with Shawn Michaels was in like bap 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 bap, arm drag, hip toss, arm drag, things going on, got them down, and I'm like. This looks kind of like fun. Do I have enough time to climb up to where I would sit and commentating? I'm like, do you have enough time to like, okay, bish bash bosh, and climb there and then jump off it? And then I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I just turned around, battered them down again, and then climbed up, and then stood, and they just looked up at me, and I'm like, fuck yes! And I just dived off the balcony. And then whenever I hit, I remember standing up, holding my stomach, going, well, that sucked. But that's the one thing I always do in the ring. Like I'm quite, as you can tell, I'm a talker. So especially in the ring, like if something hurts, I'm not gonna be like, ugh. I'm like, oh my god, I'm very vocal that way. So or I'll do all the signs and stuff like, ugh. Like so I'm always in that. But it was that first bit in the dive, and then that sucked. As soon as I shouted, oh that sucked after the yeah, and I went, oh that sucked. Everyone was like, way, and then laughing at me. So it worked.
Yeah, I always wanted to ask somebody, right? And the only other person that I know would be New Jack, and he charges $200 to do one of these, and I'm scared as shit. So I'm gonna ask you: was it just like, oh, that looks cool? That was the mindset, like that looks cool, and I'm gonna do it.
It was that, but like to be like with being at Eve for so long and seeing certain people do those kind of dives. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna like just do it. I'm not gonna be like a shite bag anymore. Let's just do it because I have 100% trust in these girls. I believe that they'll be able to like look after me. I know I'll look after them. So I'm like, let's just do it. So that I said, and then I'm like, I'm up the top, and then I'm just looking down. And they're like, yeah, can you? And I'm like, no way, doing it. So it was good, like, and it was just, it's like, your bucket list, you want to try things, tick it off. So I'm like, yeah, just did it. So I was like, it was fun.
No, absolutely. And Dan Reed, I think this is fun. He thinks I committed blasphemy because he says, don't compare Leah to Honky Tonk Man. She's better than Honky. So I'm just saying.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, though, I don't play guitar. Yeah.
You don't play guitar?
No, I don't play guitar.
I don't either.
My husband, he plays guitar. I just got Stitch in the background. Oh, you're gonna sing Country Road?
No, fuck no. I want to Jeff
Carry
Jarrett
on my
somebody.
wayward son?
No, Jeff Jarrett. Just
I know.
Yeah. I have it right by the door if anybody tries to walk in and everything. Like, here in the States, people have a weird affinity to guns and everything. I don't.
Yeah.
I have affinity to wrestling. So, again, if somebody walks through the door unceremoniously or uninvited, fucking Jeff Jarrett. That's what they get.
Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly.
I'm just saying.
See, wrestling, it can help you and it can save you at the same time.
Oh, do you not chew gum and then spit it out and go like that, like Mr. Perfect? Or anytime you're at the gym and you
Here, I don't even try anything that's Mr. Perfect because I would completely lose it. I'm like, yeah, unless you do it like Mr. Perfect, don't try.
This is true. This is true. And Dad says everyone should do every job. Everyone should bump. Everybody should ref. Everyone should commentate. And everyone should know how to do tech. There's a psychology behind everything. I'm glad he said it.
100. No, 100%, because, like, especially when we went in commentary, and then I don't know if you know the wrestler Sierra Loxton. She had to retire last year because she broke her back. Hang on, random people talking to me here. So she then became guest commentator with me on Eve. So then I'm like having to train her. So I'm like having to talk with her, and I'm like, okay, and then I'm like feeding her lines, and she's sort of looking at me, and I'm like, speak, like talk to me. And then she got so confident, and I was like, that's what you need to learn. And there were so many times that she was saying, see, if I'd done this and tried this a few times coming up rather than just doing wrestling, I think I would understand it more. And then I was like, I'm the exact same. See, now doing this, it's made me see wrestling a completely different way, rather than just being like, okay, what's in the ring is all I need to know. Like, within the commentating, it's really handy to have. Like, I would love, like, even if I'm booked as just commentator for any company, I do it. You know what I mean? Because I love it. I love it as much as I love being in the ring. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel as well it'll be a good platform for any of the companies that do book me for their female wrestlers, then to see me, so then they can come up and ask me for like things that way. So I'm like, it'd be good to have that balance of having the male and females, like they're doing in WWE, but not as well as they should be. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be honest, like, they've got Beth Phoenix and things like that, but they don't really use her as everything. They only use her whenever the female matches are on. Right. Why can't she be there for the full show?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why not?
She's damn good.
She has the same amount as experience working in that locker room and knowing the guys as any of the guys do. You know what I mean? So why not have her there? So like that's what I love to do. You know what I mean? As well, like I go do shows with like and show all the wrestlers, especially the female wrestlers, come and do this. Come and try this, because this will actually give you more confidence to maybe do promos, because you're not going to have a camera in your front of your face all the time, but people are going to hear you. So that'll give you more confidence about how you talk, and then you can maybe get in front of the camera and then cut promos. So it's that kind of thing. So everyone should know everything. So like, yes, 100% with Dan saying, everyone should know every sort of aspect, even if it's only wee bits here and there. Yeah. At least know it.
And I mean, for clarification, he says at some point, not at the same time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
100%.
but then again,
I wouldn't be like going to a show and be like, can I do commentating and then do my match and then go and help backstage? No.
Jerry Lawler did it in like 97, right? Like he did. And whatever, and he's like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of this dude and whatever. And then Michael Cole did it as well, right?
Because I remember actually at the last Wrestle Kingdom show, Wrestle Kingdom 3, that happened last year just before the lockdown. I was like trying to like maybe obviously do the whole comeback and stuff, and then I was like saying to Dan, like, I know it's not going to like my official comeback, but can I Jerry King Lawler this? And he goes, I don't know. And I'm like, can we just do like my musical hit, but I'll walk out still in my commentating gear? But nah, only joking. And then walk back and get back on commentary, but like just have that pop and see what would happen. And he goes, Yeah, and the worst thing was, he goes, if you just told me this like another week ago, we would totally have done this. But because it was like nearly on the day, we couldn't pull it off. I was like, oh, we missed a chance there.
So it was a no. It was a definitely maybe.
Yeah,
That's what happened.
exactly.
Yeah, there you go. I love it. Uh, and Kelly said, "I didn't jump far enough. Viper saved my life. Got her arm cut under my neck as I landed. Wait, so
That was
both of you
no. So that was
twins
the
dive?
no. No. So that was like I wasn't part of ICW at that point. I got elected from
Okay.
ICW 2 years after I moved to Glasgow. Ignore that. But it was just Casey established her singles career in ICW, and she did the dive. But literally in the video, like her back hits, but you see Viper just go right, like Piper Niven, just right under and catch her neck and flip her to make sure she didn't break her neck.
Damn.
Yeah,
Crazy.
if Casey could find it, that'd be really cool. Like put that up there, Casey, and show.
Just saying. Yeah. And Alan says that dive was nuts. It was absolutely nuts.
That he's a big fan. He used to be a big fan going to the ICW shows. I think he only watches it on the on-demand now and again. But yeah, I think he was there for that.
Yeah. And then we did a SS90. Kelly worked an afternoon eve show against Dahlia Black, and then we played it by ear, and then we did the SS90 angle. So what is the SS90?
That's the Rockers. That's the match with Maury Giannetti, like Beal.
Oh, so SummerSlam
like,
90, duh.
Yeah. I was like, SummerSlam. So that was the Rockers. So that was basically, because it was a 2-day, it was a show with a day with 2 shows on it, so an afternoon and an evening. And Casey said it down, like, I'll do my best. Her and Dahlia Black, that was a really good match, because Dahlia Black was like really, really like, obviously telling the story. And like Casey had made like a post and all on Twitter and stuff about it, so the fans knew that she was injured. So Dahlia Black was really good at like following through and working on that injury, but kept her safe the whole time. And it was brutal looking at some of the stuff that she was doing. Even me, I was watching, going, "Oh no, no, this is not right." But it was good. It was a good match.
That's awesome. Now, Ash Farbrother, which is a great name, that should be a gimmick name.
Yeah.
I just remembered I still have some Stitch pin to send you, so bought that last summer. So yeah, go ahead and send those. Yeah, Stitch. There you go.
I used to be able to do a really good Stitch impersonation, but I can actually like change my voice quite a bit. So I used to be able to so that's not my best one. Like my best best voice that I can do is actually Schmeagol from Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
So it goes. Hey, let me work it.
There you go.
So it goes.
Tune up your vocalizers.
It actually used to be like compared, like people used to go like, "Are you related to Andy Serkis?" Because like it's too close how it was. But now this is like putting me in it. So let's see if we can do it. So it was the whole thing.
That's gonna like, haunt me.
Master's my friend. You don't have any friends. Nobody likes you. The whole thing. Like it used to be such a party trick that like whenever I was younger, my mom and dad would call me down when they had friends over drinking, put Lord of the Rings 2 Towers on, and then have that part of the movie on and mute it, but have it playing and have me do the whole thing.
Wow. Man, if I were, that would not be a good drunk thing. I would go Fear and Loathing of Las Vegas. That it would haunt me. I'm sober.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. Good Lord.
Yeah. No, it's terrifying, especially whenever you do it in your sleep. I've done it in my sleep. I came home drunk, and God bless my husband, woke up to me sleep talking, but talking like Schmeagol in my sleep. I haven't done it recently, but whenever we used to be able to go out to those things called bars, I used to come home that drunk that I would talk in my sleep, but I used to like come out like Schmeagol. God bless him. Don't know why he's still living.
God bless them. Yeah, that would be weird. There's so much to unpack, but we're not going to. Oh my God, I'm gonna sidestep that shit. I worked at Honky Tonk, and Yes, and obviously with Leah, there's no comparison. Honky Tonk had the right friends. Leah worked her arse off. So there you go. There you go. Yeah. Which Gary Shuttlesworth says, Leah, what are your thoughts about going back into Wrestle Queendom for commentary after Wrestle Queendom won and that ladder match?
Well, originally, whenever the injury happened, like after I got told like actually what happened, basically whenever I came off the ladder and I was going to hit a leg drop on Millie McKenzie, bless her though, she rolled up just slightly and I was like literally in midair. I don't know how quick I was able to do this, but it was as soon as I went to jump, she rolled slightly. And I was like, right, if I land this leg drop, my ass is going onto this girl's head and I'm going to be giving her a concussion. So I was like, right, I need to put the foot down. I need to roll out, grab her, and then pick her up for a powerbomb or something. You know, like just feed it into something else. And I landed, and there's a perfect photo of my knee at the broken angle. So like literally, you can see it. My knee's pointing this way, and my feet's pointing that way. It's horrific. But whenever I found out, I was like as soon as I got out, I felt my knee pop back in the joint. So you can see me whenever I push myself back to like roll out the ring, I snapped my knee back in place. So then I rolled out, called the ref over, he's carrying me out. I'm getting a couple of standing ovation from everybody for like walking out the ring. I'm getting helped out. And then whenever I found out that it was more severe than what I had expected it, because I thought it was just a broken knee or a dislocated knee, and then it would only be like 6 months out. And then I got told it was a full torn ACL. I was like, oh. So then whenever I told Dan, because Dan was the first person I was texting, because obviously it was his show it happened on. And then I was like, Dan, like, I don't think I'll be coming back in the ring for a long time. And he goes, don't worry, we've got you. You're coming to commentate. And I was like, cool, let's do this. Do not get me wrong. Love it. Loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. But see, coming back and then having to get into that ring to talk to the fans, I was near in tears because they showed the picture up on the screen and everything. And I was like so nervous to do the commentating because I was like, I'm not in the ring now. Like I have to now up my game. So to answer the question, like I was super, super nervous. I was still learning things from commentating with Ollie Ogburn, who had helped me in the first She Won the year before, whenever I was gimmicking doing commentating, but then making it into, oh, I'm watching this year She Won, so then I can like find out who I'm going to get at the next She Won, you know, like and try and one up in that way. So that's why I started doing the commentating. And then whenever Darren said, don't worry, you're always going to have a place in Eve, and it's going to be to do the commentating to be our lead commentator, I was like so taken aback because I was like, no, but you know, you could literally fill somebody else's shoes, you know, give somebody else a chance and like, you know, leave me at the wayside. And he goes, no, you are a part of the family. So I think I was very, very nervous to that point because I was like, I have a lot to live up to now because Dan's asked me to do this, but at the same time, I've still got a way to be in touch with the wrestling. You know what I mean? I thought my whole world was crumbling down whenever I broke my knee. So I was like, like, what did I do now? But yeah, I was super nervous. But nowadays, it's just a walk in the park. Headset on, mic over, holding the mic, whatever. I'm straight in, opening the show. So it's now second nature to me. So
yeah. Now Dan says, "Why you got to go there, Gary Shuttleworth? Everyone is happy and smiling and having a good time, and you got to bring that negativity in here. No bad vibes.
If we didn't have negativity, we wouldn't have any way to grow. So you know what? We have to have the negativity to create positive. So he asked a good question to show how I was feeling, and I showed how amazing I came from it. So,
and just a big no from, there you go. And not negativity, but inspiring to see someone excel even after that. Absolutely, 100%. And I mean, not everything is negative because we wouldn't have stories of Undertaker and cucumbers if not for that. Like Mark Calloway might think it's negative. I think it's amazing. I'm just saying, the dead man, the cucumbers, I could kill the dead man with a salad. This is an adult person. Yeah. Oh, this is an adult person with a wife and kids that I'm not fully convinced that if I turn off all the lights in my house, that like I would hear the gong and the shrill of Paul Bear and the Undertaker. So I'm just saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, it's been fun.
No, absolutely. And Dan says, I bet you're a Tory Gary.
Leave politics out of this, Dan. Leave
Oof,
politics out of this. I don't
oof.
even follow it.
I don't. And Ash says, I have a gimmick name, but this isn't it. Damn it, that's a missed opportunity, damn it. Ash.
I know. Ash, he's a big sweetheart, love him to pieces. Especially whenever I got the injury and stuff. He had actually the year before the Christmas, he had a cheese Christmas advent calendar. So every day he opened, it was a different cheese to taste. But he created this like video gimmick of his like puppet rabbit always coming in to try and steal the cheese. And I became such a fan and watching it every day of him opening this up with this gimmick rabbit that he got me one. So it's in my cupboard. It is in my cupboard sleeping. So, but he sent it over to me and has been a really good friend that helped me through a lot of stuff because he does a lot of like the sound stuff down in the Resistance Gallery for you. So, but especially in the early days of me doing commentating, he was the one that was listening. So he's helped me a lot. And then you had everybody else like helped me with that in Firebrand. Is it Firebrand? Dan, who does our our production? I can't remember the name. Oh no! But everyone helps me with that. So yeah, I should have taken notes for myself.
It's definitely not Sarath Khan because he does have he does have a seamster job, but
Yeah.
it might not be Pro Wrestling Eve, is what I'm saying.
No.
I'm just saying. So yeah, and let's see. I also Nate Wren says a spot on impersonation, and Dan says yes, absolutely, of Podium Sports, and Dan says I also love Stitch. Dude uses a car for a baseball bat. Hey, I'm 38 years old, dude. I have a Stitch plush toy too. Don't give a fuck.
Give a fuck. Love Stitch.
No. Yeah.
He's my favorite. So, along with that, to be fair, my main favorite Disney character in the whole world of Disney is Goofy. Love Goofy. Anytime I was in Japan with Casey and we went to Tokyo Disney Sea, we stood in the queue just for me to meet Goofy. And I'm like, I know it's a dude in an outfit, but I was like, I need to meet Goofy. And then I went to Disney whenever I made my US debut. I think it was like 5 years ago now, against Santana Garrett in the Glitz nightclub in Florida. And I was defending my RCW title, then lost it to her in a 4-minute match because the card was a 22 match card and our match was number 14. And all the matches that ran over that much that we were given a 15-minute time limit, and it came up to like 10 minutes before our entrances. If the boss came up, and I just turned around and went, dude, we're doing 4 minutes. And he goes, thank you. You're the only type of match that understands the register time. Like, we're doing 4 minutes. And he goes, cool, straight out, 4-minute match, straight back. But like when we were there, we went down to Hollywood Studios, and then it was my husband spotted Goofy, and I was like, running around, like beating kids out the way. I was like, mate, I want to meet Goofy.
What? Wait, what? Where was this match when he came to the US?
It was a Glitz or Giltz nightclub in Florida. It was RCW Championship, but it was against Santana Garrett.
Right on.
But yeah, but it was like the card had like.
I wonder what happened to Santana after this.
I know. I don't know where she is now. I know, but like, no, I had that match, but that match had like Taya Valkyrie. Who else? Like, Sue Young was on it. It was like a massive, like, there was a massive, like, I think it was like a 14 women like ladder battle royal thing that they came up with. But then there was hardcore matches. I swear to God, though, when I came in and I went onto the ropes, I was like, yeah, I'm not coming off those ropes. It's fine. Because all the guys were so big, they were like just destroying the ring. And I was like, yeah, this ain't good. This ain't safe.
Yes. Dan says that impersonation is spot on. To which Nate Wren says, has she ever done the impersonations and prank called people? That's what inquiring minds want to know.
No, I haven't actually done any like impersonations, unless you can talk about swapping classes with Casey and never getting called out by our teachers.
No, but you prank call though, like with the.
No, I've never prank called anybody. You know why it is? Like you can tell now, even just talking with me, I break into laughter too quick. See, if I was trying to prank call somebody, I'd be like, "Oh my god!" Just like nothing would come out. So yeah, No, definitely not.
Oof. Let's talk about shade. Dan says you're only defending Gary because he carries several big guns. I don't know if that's metaphorical or legitimate. I don't know. Which I'm gonna stay away from because Texas is frozen. So
Yeah,
you
let's
know,
not talk about that. Here,
yeah,
no, leave on that in the
yeah.
for politics and wrestling.
Politics.
That'll never happen. No,
I mean,
never. Not like you got the
big.
T-shirt with "I'll drive a fascist" or anything on it.
I mean, uh, Big Cass is doing fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Firebrand, thank you,
Yes.
Challenger.
There
Yeah,
you
thank
go.
you. Sorry, guys.
Yes.
No, honestly, see, working with them and everything, and like getting used to like wearing the headsets with the mics on, and then them talking to me through the headset. I'm like, ooh, I feel so professional now.
Oh, speaking of, here goes. Hey, Emily's out of Eve, so no politics anymore.
It's
Oh,
true. Love you,
ooh,
Mama.
ooh, ouch.
Let's not go there.
Dan, there'll always be politics in wrestling. It's just what we do.
It's true. It's true.
I don't know. I don't. Yeah. I mean,
But
I,
yeah.
I'm an American, so politics are absolutely fucked over here. So it's just like, it's what's that
Good.
meme? It's like I'm fine and everything is burning around me, but I'm fine. That's
Yeah.
really what it is.
It's like,
Just
I studied government and politics in school. So, like, I studied all the different types and stuff and everything within the UK and Ireland. You know, Ireland's too crazy for it. And then we then studied American. And I'm like, I literally understand your government and your politics more than I understand our own. I'm like, no clue.
I mean, that's a similar sentiment. My dad, he was in the Midwest, born in the Midwest in Indiana, and funny enough, like around the time of like there was a big wrestling thing there, but I mean, because of the color of his skin, he couldn't go. So, and he wasn't a wrestling fan, so poor dad. But he went over during Vietnam and was stationed in Korea, and he found out that the Koreans knew more about his culture and his experience of being a person of color than
Yeah.
he did living here. So
Yeah. It just shows it's the outsider's point of view. It's what we can see. When you're in the mess of it, you just like go,
I don't know. Well, I mean, I like UK takes on music because I've actually gotten into a big Gary Moore kick, which I'd never heard of Gary Moore before, which is weird because like I'm like an avid music fan. So like combat sports, music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything else, I'm pretty much an invalid. I mean, like it
Yeah,
just
you're like, yeah.
doesn't. Yeah. So like I don't know what's going on in politics. I kind of made some money in the stock market with YouTube videos, and that's cool. So that's but yeah, but that's just it. So it's weird that I didn't know about Gary Moore, and there was a cover. So these dudes in a garage, and I still can't find out where they are, but it's like 8 dudes in a garage. One's in an organ. There's a drummer, like a full-on band setup, but they're in some garage. They might be here in the States, but they also could be in Belgium, just like thick accents when they're singing and whatever. But they basically played a cover of Still Got the Blues, and I was just like, I'd like that. Them doing covers, they do an awesome like Prince cover, they do an awesome like John Mayer, whatever, and they went into Gary Moore, and I had never heard of it, and I'm like, and I'm a Thin Lizzy fan, and I'd never heard of Gary Moore, which I feel like a plunker, but yeah, well, so yeah, that's it. I mean, I love the UK when they Molly Spartan already established that you guys have better chocolates than us, which is facts because hey, my mom's from Fiji. Yeah, my mom's from Fiji. I grew up with like crunchies, which for those of you who don't know, it's like you take honeycomb and cover it in Cadbury chocolate, and that's what a crunchy is. Fucking great.
I love it.
Right? Milo bars? Come on.
I don't know if I've had a Milo bar.
Maybe it was just a 90s thing, but I remember they were a big thing in Fiji the last time I went in 92. And I was just like, this is exactly what I want because, like, me and my sister would just eat Milo out of the tin, just by the spoonfuls and whatever. Yeah. So you just do that and then just cover it in chocolate. I'm in.
That sounds like a good time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We were buzzing. we're buzzing. But, yeah, I'm just saying. Now, I mean, you have an 80s gimmick, right? So let's talk about some 80s music, Leah.
80s music, right?
So,
Well, I'm not going to say that I'm like I know everything about the 80s, right? My main
okay.
love of it is because I always feel that I should have I'm an 80s baby, just like I was born in 89. But
Okay.
because of the way I was brought up, and especially the fact that like our older brother wanted technically to have wee brothers, and that's why we got our interest in wrestling anyway. He always like taught us a lot of stuff. So like we were massive fans of like the A-Team, Knight Rider, Airwolf, like all the stuff, you know what I mean? Like all the old school TV shows and things. And obviously you had the music. And it's always been something that, it just brings me joy and happiness. And especially whenever I was coming up with a character, I was like, that's what I want people to feel whenever I come into the ring. And obviously I couldn't have chosen a better song. Because obviously with having Aha Take on Me, there was actually a quick to sidestep, so we're quick. In Deadpool, there's the bit whenever is it Deadpool or Deadpool? No, Deadpool 2. And it's the bit and it's Aha Take on Me, but it's in slow mo. It's like the slower version. And
Yes.
I'm like sitting like me and my husband went to see it in the cinema, and we had done the 40 pound ticket, which is basically you have your buffet food before, so you have your dinner before, and you have your drinks, and then you go and you have your big massive seats, and we had a big bottle of wine and stuff sitting. So obviously halfway through the movie, I'm half cut, and I'm like, this is so good. And then I'm like sitting and the music hits, and I'm like, take on me, and I'm like saying that, and I turn around to my husband, and I go, Mark, that's my entrance music! And I'm like screaming this, and there's like flipping 25 people behind us going, shit. I'm like, no, we don't understand. This is my entrance music. And then I said to him, like, if I was ever to get injured, I would love to like do a gimmick that I wasn't coming back. And like use that as like a part of a video and do like a wee like flashback, like a throwback to everything that I'd done. And then for it to then do a Rick Astley going, I'm never gonna give you up. Never gonna have me running down to the range going, hey!
Yeah.
So Dan, if I do come back, we can't do that gimmick anymore. But but yeah.
Nobody will remember. Nobody will remember. Nobody will remember.
All the music I love, like I love Billy Idol, I love a lot of the rock. So I do love a lot of Black Sabbath, Ozzy, Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, everything like that. So I wouldn't say like I'm like again knowing everything about like music in that sense. I just know that the 80s music, I just vibe to it. I love it. It just makes me feel happy, and that's what I want.
No, 100%. I'm the same way. Well, it's funny. My sister was born January 14th, 1989. So you guys are around the same age. But yeah, so, but for me, the 80s are the best, decade in music history, right? You go jazz, Miles Davis was still putting out stuff, right? You go punk, you had the Ramones, you go Van Halen, Guns N' Roses, like Motley Crue, everything. Then you had the pop side, you had Madonna, Cyndi Lauper, Chaka Khan, Tina Turner,
Boy George.
It is the greatest. Phil Collins,
Boy George,
Yeah, Boy George and Culture Club. My goodness, here's the deal. And there's a video on this very channel where me and a bunch of the guys from the AfterBuzz conglomerate, and we were talking about the greatness of both Phil Collins and Don Henley, because both of them, the Eagles and Genesis, could you get bigger bands, right? And then the drummer aren't the ones that are usually fronting the group. But
exactly.
Two of the greatest bands, their drummers became some of the greatest solo artists of the next decade, which is fucking weird.
Exactly. It's just the constant movement of that, and that because it really did, because it was the most time it was the biggest time for the most experimentation, I think, for music as well. And especially with Black Sabbath and Ozzy and everything else, obviously with Black Sabbath starting in the 70s and stuff, and then moving into the 80s, and obviously having the reputation about being all this craziness, they just went more. And like you said about obviously with Genesis and stuff, with Ozzy, he left Black Sabbath and then became Ozzy Osbourne and got bigger again. And you're like, hey, can do that. Maybe Dave Grohl whenever he obviously being part of Nirvana, but that was obviously in the 90s. But you know,
Yes.
like it's that way of how they do it. And you're like, it's always about the experimentation. So with like the 80s, because it was so crazy and everything going on, especially with like from the 60s, 70s, and the 80s, it was always just a movement on of just going, let's try something this. 80s went techno, 80s went this way, 80s went a bit heavier in the metal, 80s went this
Yeah.
way in the rock. And then it got
Yeah.
more and more and more. So yeah, so maybe I do know a bit more about music than I
Yes, you do.
really
I just like, well, which here you mentioned "Never Going to Give You Up" by Rick Astley, and then Dave Grohl of the Foo Fighters. So do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know the video that is circulating around YouTube of Rick Astley actually joining the Foo Fighters and doing?
Yes, I do
It's
remember
the
that.
fucking
That's often I
greatest.
went, oh my god! I'm like,
It's the
my
greatest.
brain cannot like fathom
Yes,
this right now. I
it
love Foo
melted.
Fighters.
Yes, yeah, my brain melted. I was like, holy shit. This is, and especially like the intro is like, hey, how you feeling? You know, Dave Grohl's like, this is a badass motherfucker, and like Rick Astley,
You're like, what? And then he walks in, you're like,
yeah, and then he jumps in and he's like, how you feeling, Rick? He's like, pretty fucking nervous,
what are you
Dave. And
doing?
I
This
was
is
like,
fucking good. And you're like, Rick Astley can swear? What?
yeah, because he looked like Rin Tin Tin. He still looks like Rin Tin Tin.
Exactly.
He looks incredible, but he looks like Rin Tin Tin. That's
Yeah.
shit. That's part of it, you know, the artful dodger that he is. And Joe Rice says, but the UK don't have Irish Tato.
Okay, right, okay.
Okay.
Tato is what is basically like our version of like Lay's crisps, right?
Okay.
But it was made before Lay's.
Okay.
And obviously Lay's is your take on Walkers, which is in the UK. But Tato is Tato's crisps. And this is where it's going to get really funny and it's going to get really embarrassing for me, but I'll tell you anyway. Tato is basically the way that obviously the Irish will call a potato. Like, what do you want for dinner tonight? Oh, can I get can I get some potatoes? Some people will say that, some people won't. Some people will just say mash or whatever. But so I got to the point because obviously I'm married a Scotsman, and now we've got the wee nephew that he turns around and tries to tell his nephew Lee that whenever I walk into the room that I have to be called Auntie Tato because I'm Irish, because the Irish like potato, and because of the potato farmers. And I'm like, do not let your nephew call me Auntie Tato, please. If you're gonna do it, and because I'm the Irish one, call me Diddly Dee. That's it, okay?
Wow.
So yeah, but
That's
Tato crisps, if you ever get to try it or you ever find it, eat Tato crisps, and the best flavor is cheese and onion. Cheese and onion Tato crisps.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, I'm doing it. And yes, Ash, that is it. The Gary Moore cover is probably by Martin Miller. Yes, it is. And he's based in Germany. Does amazing covers and medleys, including a great 80s medleys that Leah will like.
Link it to me, Ash.
Yes, yes. So yes, Martin Miller. Go ahead and subscribe to him. That's real MVP. 100%. And then the Deadwood version. Wait, the Deadpool. Okay. So,
the Deadpool version.
She's
literally got it. She got the link. Yeah.
That's the thing is,
If you haven't heard it, guys, you have to listen to it.
Yes,
it's so haunting.
Yes, I want to hear the Deadwood shit. Not letting her live it up. Jesus Christ. Yes, and who can forget Tim Capello?
Cannot forget the legend Tim Capello. Hey, I love him. He's apparently coming to Comic-Con in Edinburgh like later this year. Hopefully, if it goes ahead. And I'm like, I just need to go and see Tim Capello stand with his saxophone. I'd be like, do.
Wait, who's Tim Capello? I'm an idiot.
Have you seen The Lost Boys?
I know. Look, here's the thing. I've never seen.
You don't need to whisper. You just completely like what?
Yeah, no. So I've never seen any. Like MMA pro wrestling music.
Yeah, true. No, Tim Capello. I need to remember the name of it. Kelly, what's the name? Or Casey, what's the name of that song? Like, okay, if she link you to it, you need to listen to it. It's like the most he does it. Like he's standing on this stage in The Lost Boys. Obviously, The Lost Boys is about all the vampires and stuff. But he's standing on the stage. The song's going, but he's standing oiled up, topless, ripped to shreds with this wee little saxophone going. It's the cheesiest like thing you could think of the 80s, and he just pulls it off, and you're like, hi. Like he's in these high shine pink trousers and stuff. It's like it's insane.
I mean, it's a deal. I mean, Tina Turner for a while. I mean, when she was touring, she had I want to say he's a German guy. It's Van Blair, and he was just oiled. He looked like a dude from
I think
Chippendales.
that was is that not Tim Capello? Did he not
Is
work
it?
with Tina Turner? I think that he worked with Tina Turner. Yeah,
Okay, then that's the guy.
maybe
Oh,
there's
so
him
I,
one.
so I do know Tim
So there you
Capello.
go.
Yeah,
Check out
there
the
you go.
song "Go Kelly" like piss off. But yes, Tim
Yes,
Capello, iconic scene
yes.
from Lost Boys.
Yes, and I mean it's funny because we were talking about Martin Miller and subscriptions, and obviously you should definitely go ahead and subscribe here. But damn,
Yes,
because I got to
subscribe.
bounce. Yes, I tonight's YouTube stream is about to begin, so I gotta start it. Love it, love it. Just
Love you, Dad.
absolutely.
Good
But
luck to
go
the
ahead.
stream tonight, and everybody, if
Yes,
you go after this, go and watch it. Go and follow
no,
the stream to
100%.
eat.
I do. Like at 3 in the morning here in the U.S., it's like it's on, and I'm like, fuck, I want to
Yeah.
watch new wrestling. So I'm just saying, you know.
Because
And
I was watching the stream, and then I woke up. It was like one of the mornings. I woke up, and Darren had just randomly put up on like a random stream, and I was like watching it. And then we moved on to go to watch Choco Pro, which is run by
yes,
Emmy Sakura. So I went on to that, and I started chatting away onto the comments. And then like Emmy's sitting with I can't remember the guy's name, chatting away. And then I went like changed my language, obviously to put on a Japanese. And then she goes, "Oh, it's Leah Owens, hi!" And I'm like, "Hi."
yes, no, it is absolutely him. Yeah,
Yeah,
Tim
see, I
Capello.
knew you were right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Kelly. Yes. Which Nate Wren wants to know, what is your favorite '80s movie?
Okay, rom-com, Pretty Woman. And that was in
Okay.
'89. See, it's really difficult because it's between like Lethal Weapon.
Okay.
I don't. Okay, there's obviously you've got the 4 Lethal Weapons. So I'm trying to remember. Maybe the first. No, that's the first one. Absolutely love Overboard. See Overboard with
Yeah.
obviously Kurt Russell and love them too. They are like couples goals, like Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
I know, like it's really, really bad, and I don't know if I should be saying this, but see him as Santa Claus. Hi.
Yeah.
Love him as Santa Claus. But yes, Overboard. See, just anything like super cheesy, especially from the 80s, I love. Like it's so cool. Like even like the cartoons, like the proper old school Care Bears and all. Like you have to have it. But yes, Lethal Weapons is good. Terminators. Guys, you should have sent me these questions and I could have looked up the answers and had them wrote down. Because my brain works at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and you got to remember, I'm like a 89 baby trying to live in the 80s to the 2021s. So come on.
Yeah, give her a little bit of slack.
Give me a bit of break.
Not that anybody's asking, but Back to the Future. Back to the Future. That's
Oh yeah.
all fucking...
See what I mean? Back to the
okay.
Future, hell yeah.
So I live in Atwater Village, like the Los Feliz area of LA. So Doc Brown's house is literally like 10 minutes away from me.
Yeah, can you just stop like rubbing this into me right now?
I'm sorry. It's just,
no, I'm joking.
But then also the fucking taxes. I'm like, maybe I should move to Vegas because like the taxes here are killing me. The taxes are like Britney Spears and loneliness. You know, it's fucking killing me.
Yeah. No, Back to the Future, I love. Obviously, I have to love it because, see, to be fair, if I could, I'm quite into cars as well. So, like, the main car that I've always wanted is a 1969 Pontiac. Just love the shape of it, right? But I've started I'm like waiting to get season 15 of Supernatural, right? And I absolutely love his Impala in it. Like the guy who plays in Manchester, Jensen Ackles, he was actually gifted that car from the company whenever it finished filming just last year. He got gifted it because he then said that halfway through like making the show, he got it written into his contract whenever the show finished, he got the car. So it's the Impala, the 1969 Pontiac, and I've always wanted a DeLorean. So I went with the gull wings and all, I want a DeLorean.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Here, I have to have a DeLorean. It was built in Belfast. So
was it?
Yes. Two things you probably didn't know. The DeLorean was built in Belfast, and the Harrier jet was built in Belfast. So the Harrier jet that Arnold Schwarzenegger flies in Tree Lies, that was built in Belfast. Along
That's
with the
pretty damn cool. That's pretty damn cool. And then in terms of Tim Capello, he's still out there rocking, appeared in a track for the synthwave band Gunship a few years ago. So, I got to check out
Looking
Gunship.
that up.
Yeah, I like it. I want to believe that Ash didn't look it up. It's just in his mind somewhere.
Oh no! Honestly, Ash would just know that. Like he's just that way. He just knows things that you just don't expect.
Yeah.
He's that friend that you want to have because you just turn around and go, "What was that thing that we were talking about?" And people are like, "Bleh."
Yeah, so I'm usually that to my friends, but Ash has me beat. So everybody needs a friend in Ash. I'm just saying.
Yes, that's it.
Yes. Now, Nate Redden says, "Who is your favorite wrestler of all time?" And if you don't want to narrow it to one, could we do maybe
Okay,
top 10?
I'll do male female. I'll do male female.
Okay.
Right. Because I'm not really good with top 10s because then I'll be like going on forever. If I run put somebody at 3 and then be like, no, I want them at 2 and then be like that.
No, but no, okay, we're not gonna put value numbers. We're just saying top 10.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll try. Okay. So a lot of them obviously are going to be quite the older generations as well. A lot of the guys in obviously they're in the business now. Absolutely love Justin Thunder Liger. Love just love him to pieces. Absolutely amazing. Love Tanahashi. Absolutely adore Eddie Guerrero. Rest his soul. Dean Malenko, Chris Benoit, Alundra Blaze, China, Ivory, Molly Holly, The Rock, so cool. Like I can literally just name everybody. Right?
Okay.
But it's that's that kind of level. But like with the ones like it has to be the mix because with getting into the wrestling scene, I did never really watch a lot of Japanese wrestling because, to be honest with you, I never knew it freaking existed. Because all I knew was WWF.
Yeah.
That was it. But then moving on, also like with doing all that, so the obviously primary ones are going to be in WWE or WWF. So whenever I got into obviously watching New Japan, 0-1 and stuff like that, it was always just them learning again who Liger was, and then remembering that he used to be in the WWE. It was like, oh yeah, that was that dude. But it was like obviously with Liger, for his age, it's still going that he was until he retired. Was it 2 years ago?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And then
was it even 2 years ago? I want to say it was even more
maybe
recent.
Last year? Was it just before the? Was it just before the pandemic?
Yeah.
So like you know what I mean. So it's like all that, and then. Like again, I love Japanese, obviously New Japan and stuff, but it's very like I find it very hard to remember who's who, just because the names are so obviously. So I say Tanahashi, love Tanahashi, just his hair. But I cannot for the life of me remember Prince Devitt's tag partner right now. Whenever they were in Apollo 55, because remember they had the tag match.
Wasn't it it wasn't Kushida, wasn't it?
No, it was Kushida because Kushida was with Kenny Omega and they were the Golden. No, who was the Golden Lovers?
Yeah, the Golden Lovers. Okay, so fuck, man. Why am I blanking? Oh, I should know this.
Kelly, if you're still watching, who was that again? That was tied with Fergal. Because they had a match and it was Apollo 55 versus the Golden Lovers, and it was Kenny Omega and Kushida. No, not Kushida. Flipping. Yeah, I forget their name. But you know what I mean. But yeah, so it's like loads, but like doing that sort of run through, it's just showing different ways, different different styles.
Taguchi, fucking A.
Taguchi.
Thank
you.
Yes, the fucking
bad me. Because he then went on 2 years after that to actually win the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah.
See, I do know some stuff.
You see? There you go. Well, Ash says, I know everything that has no real value. Actual meaningful knowledge, no, less. Pretty much less.
No. Do you know things that are handy for a pub quiz?
Pub quiz, yeah. Fucking, I mean, if Alex Trebek hadn't died, I would have brought Ash to fucking Jeopardy. I'm just saying.
Hair's coming down, people. My hair can't stay up anymore. It's too sore.
That's all right. Yeah, and also, thanks, Kelly. Miss you too. And Kelly says, yes.
I was last year for
Liger. Yeah, and Taguchi. Which, you know what? Again, this is the most, like, fucking, like, MMA pro wrestling thing. I was at the Paramount lot to do the what is it, the precursor to Chris Cyborg's last fight, or not last fight, but the one where she won the Bellator title, right? And it was weird because they had it. Yeah, they actually had it at the Paramount lot. Like, we walk in, and there's the fucking Forrest Gump bench, like, to the left. Like, fuck all this shit. I'm going to do this. Like,
I'm going to sit and have some chocolates.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and speak illiterately. But anyway, so I walk in, and somebody of a very credible MMA media source, were like, they had a sport coat and the "Thank You Liger" shirt in Japanese, and I was like, hey, whatever, like, did you get that off of like a New Japan shop or whatever? And he's like, no, me and my wife went to Japan to fucking see Liger. And I was like, you son of a bitch. You son of a bitch.
I don't want to go there.
Yeah. But I was just like, oh man, I'm not making that much. I could just like, oh, let's just go to Japan. Like right before, and I was like, yeah, just jump over. Yeah. I was like, damn
it's quicker for you than it's quicker for me.
Yeah, no shit, man. Which I gotta give love. So I don't know what the fuck is happening with him now, but like Nakamura is probably my favorite wrestler. Nakamura and Okada are my favorite wrestlers since Brett and Owen, which says a lot. My son, his name is Owen. Like, that they're just so like charisma. Like the fact that, to me, when you have charisma, right, is like, it's unforshakable. Somebody just has it. Like, you don't have to speak English to get The Rock. You don't have to speak Japanese to get Nakamura and Okada. And I would say Tanahashi is there too, but like, you just, that's it, you know. And Nakamura has everything, right? He during the time that Antonio Inoki wanted to do like, all of his young lions do fights and everything. Well, Nakamura has a pretty fucking good record. He fought 7 times, and I think he won like 4 of them. It's not bad.
It was just over half of them. Yeah, that's right. Because to agree with what you're saying, like, he is the full package. And like, whenever he got brought over to WWE and then like got under the main roster and having all those awesome entrances and have the girl play his entrance and all, like, he's phenomenal. Like, he's absolutely amazing. Don't know what the hell they're doing with him now, because they've absolutely lost it with him. I'm like, stop squashing the guys and like giving them a chance. You've seen how well he is and how good he is and how amazing he could do, and that's not just limited to him. That's a lot of the other guys are getting the same thing happening to them. Like Aleister Black, as I used to know Tommy N. Like, he's a phenomenal wrestler. But because he just doesn't, because Vince just can't seem to click with him, he gets shoved to the wayside, and you're like, no, but the fans are wanting to see them. Like, same with Nakamura. It's like, he comes out, and it's just that shake, and the move down, and everything, like, they're going in for the Kinshasa. It's like, it's that build up. Like you're saying, he doesn't have to speak English to get over. He doesn't have to do all this crazy stuff. Like, I learned that whenever I decided to do a Lucha Leah gimmick, whenever I used to come out in a mask. And it was a whole gimmick, and then I had to win it back because I lost a match against Casey, and I had to start wearing a mask. And she goes, you have my face, and I should make money off it, and it should be my face. It's no poster's not yours. So we're going to do a face, like a face versus belt gimmick match thing, and whoever loses has to, if you win, you get to keep your belt. If you lose, you have to wear a mask. And I was like, right, okay. So then that made me realize I couldn't just work on my facial expressions anymore. I actually had to like really work different ways. So like, you have to have that all-rounderness with it. Like, and so with Nakamura, Asuka, Kairi Sane, Io Shirai, all these ones coming in, like even in the back in the olden days, like Manami Toyota, you got and Miko Satomura and all coming in. You're like, come on, Bull Nakano, exactly. You've got all of them, and you're like, they can still pull a crowd in. You could do it. Stop squashing the guys that can actually get you people to watch your show.
I didn't know that I could hate AJ Styles and Nakamura, but Vince did it at WrestleMania. Like, he fucking, I was just like, I never want to see this match again. I don't even want to see them and luckily they haven't put them together either opposite each other or tagging, but I never want to see it again. It was such an atrocity. I'm good.
One thing that I did find funny, and I can't remember, was it 2 Royal Rumbles ago, and Nakamura comes out, and Fergal's still in the ring, Finn Balor's still in the ring, And you
Yeah,
can see him
Turtle.
just like working people, and then he just works himself over to Finn Balor because he goes, I've wrestled you enough in New Japan that I know that we can work, so let's just work each other in the corner right now. Because I'm not risking getting hurt by anybody, I'm going to work with you. And you're
Yeah,
like, but that just shows like wrestling is like a whole, it's a worldwide, like, there's a certain language to it without actually talking. You know what I mean? If like, you can learn it. You know what I mean? It's a worldwide. Like Kelly knows the word I'm thinking of, and she's probably going to pop up in the comments with it. But it's just like you just know, and like you can't squash the people like Nakamura and everyone that got such a big, massive pop whenever they got announced they got signed, and then like 3 years down the line don't use them. You're like, come on! Like
yeah.
I love it, love that he's back, love
Come
it.
on,
It's like what?
Literally, come on, like Lily, come
I know.
on.
Come on, come on. It's like, but that's like with like I said, I love Edge. Love that he came back. Love that Christian was in the Rumble. Thought that was amazing. Dude, you're like what 47, 48, whatever. Call it a day. Like I love that he's come back. Love that he's doing well at the minute, and he is. It doesn't look like he's missed a step, but it's like let the guys that are coming up have a chance to go for a title.
Yeah, but I also think it's him wanting to give back, and
Oh no,
you know,
I get that.
yeah. I mean, I get it. It's not like Hulk Hogan winning the title. It's not that.
Yeah.
It's not that. But here's the thing. I hate spears. The only person that I want to see do a spear, and I don't even want him to do a spear anymore, is Bill Goldberg, right? When I saw Edge doing it, I'm like, ugh. When I see, and what's it going to be, right? So Edge has a spear, Roman has a spear. What the fuck? What are we doing?
It's like,
What are we doing?
what are they, like we don't want another problem whenever like they run and butt heads again, like they did that one time. Like Edge did it. I can't remember who he was against, but they ran and butted heads. No, he ran into his knee. But it was like, come on, okay. Like everyone said, it's really difficult to come up with new moves. Yes, 100% it is. But if you're gonna be a wrestler in the WWE, make sure you have a lot of moves, so that if you do go against somebody that originated the move or was massively popular for it, it means that you can maybe tease and trip and use it, but then come out with something completely different. Don't both go for a spear.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though I can hear Michael Cole call it, and maybe that's my I don't know, like traumatic disorder or whatever the fuck, but like I can hear it, I can hear it.
Yeah.
It's bad. So here's the thing. Obviously, Leah, there have been a lot of people that have helped you both professionally and personally in your journey as like the consummate Renaissance woman that you are. So let's get some shout outs out of the way.
So obviously we always say it's Dan. Dan, absolutely awesome. Always supported me. Alan Cunningham for helping train me, and then the guys over in Scotland in BCW, PPW, Ross, and everyone like in the training side of it, like Jester, Wolfie, Rest of Soul, Lionheart. Shout out to Lionheart. Red, BT Gun, Kaylee Ray, like everybody. Casey as well. See that? I remember that this time. Casey. Everybody, but then it's every single promotion that has been a part of my journey. Thank you for doing that. Especially like with RCW in Barcelona, making me their first ever female champion for their company. At a time whenever I turned around and went, "Are you sure you're not asking the wrong twin?" Honest to God, love it. There was Carlos actually put up a video, was up on his Instagram the other day, and it was of our international tournament that was like 4 or 5 years ago. Tony Storm, Eva Shirai, Keely Ray, Santana Garrett, Chelsea Green, me, Casey, Thunder Rosa, also Young, all them on the show. Hannah Kimura, wrestler.
Yeah.
Like we're all on it, and I'm like looking at it going, like I was part of these crazy shows. So literally any company that I've been a part of, all around the world, anyone that's given me a chance, thank you so much for doing it. And whenever the doors do back open again, please contact if you want a female commentator, because I am right here. I can help train everybody, that you want to train up. If you want me to come in, I'll do commentating. If you want me to come in and wrestle, we'll see.
I mean, unless you want to, like, you're a good commentator. You're a freaking great commentator. So, I mean, and again, I'm just like, oh, the injuries that you sustained, I'm just like,
Yeah,
maybe not. Like and I always like the DDPs and whatever that, they can make money outside of the biz and then
yeah,
whatever, and then just come back whenever they want to. And I think
yeah.
that's Leah Owens. That's what I
I
want to
like
see.
that's where I'm saying. I think you can see too. I don't think I could come back full time as a full time wrestler. I think I find something new that I love. That, like I said, like when we were off air before this podcast, like I think I found something that I love that I never thought I would, and I actually feel like I have more of an impact in that sense because it's an all female company for wrestling. You know what I mean? So to have a full roster that's all female, full roster that team of refs that are female, a full team of commentators that are female, in-ring announcers, backstage interviews, and they're all female. It makes sense. You know what I mean? And so we want to be part of history that way. So, yeah. So, fuck me.
Hell yeah. Which, for those who want to get more of Leah Owens, where can they find you on social media?
So you can find me on social media. So in Facebook, just type in Leah Owens. It'll be the first one that'll pop up, and it'll just be the pages. It won't be a person. It's just going to be my Leah Owens page. Leah Owens, Leah underscore Owens 1 or Leah Owens 1 is Instagram. And then I think it's Leah Owens 89 is Twitter. So just type it in. You'll see me. It's going to be my crazy multicolored self with like purple hair or the pink hair or my 80s gimmick or something. You'll find the photo. You'll know it's me anyway because it says I'm the throwback to the 80s and I want to be golden girl. So, yeah. Find me anywhere and contact me. It'd be fun.
Hell yes. Well, you've been absolutely fun and amazing. Thank you for doing this, and thank you guys there. Because
Thank
if not for
you.
you, yeah, you guys watching this podcast here. But if you haven't already done so, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the According to What's podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. But YouTube because that's where I'll get paid. So I like that. But
That's a good idea.
thank you guys for doing it, right? But I mean, Leah, you're subscribed to the podcast, right?
Oh, yes, I am absolutely subscribed to the podcast. So, you know what? I'm going to steal something from one of my other favorite YouTubers, Sienna Spalding. Subscribbles, your fans, and get them all to subscribe to According to Wiz on YouTube. Make sure you catch it all up because all the podcasts are amazing. You've got guests like myself, Casey Owens. You've got everything from MMA fighters, UFC. Let's do it. Get on to it. If you like the podcast, subscribbles.
Subscribbles. Again, I couldn't have said it any better myself. Thank you, Casey. Thank you, guys. But if you don't take our word for it, well, here's another pro wrestler, Zeta Zhang.
Hey, this is Zeta